and I just spaced out. I was just staring, and I remember her, you know, asking me if I was okay, and I was like, yeah, no, I'm fine. And she was like, did you see him? Hey y'all, welcome and welcome back. My name is Morgan. It is so nice to meet you, and here we talk about all things spooky. So if that is your thing, I'd love to have you here. For social media handles and where to send your own scary stories so I can read them on here, all of that information is down below, so please check that out. And without further ado, let me tell you a really creepy story from my childhood, because I fear I'm not the only one that had this experience. So the Hatman. I feel like more often than not, we have seen the Hatman. He's a very common shadow figure that is seen, mostly by children. And if you guys want me to do a whole deep dive on the Hatman, or do like an entire video of all the Hatman stories that have been sent to me, that'll probably be a series. But I'd be so down, because I am so intrigued by the Hatman. And I've seen the Hatman in his classic, you know, looks like the neighborhood watch guy vibe at night, but I also have seen him in different ways. And one that sticks out to me the most is the time that I saw him in an iridescent light. So I would like to tell you guys all about that experience, and please let me know below if you had any similar experiences or just any Hatman stories. If you guys want to send those to the email below, I will make a full video if that's something you guys want. So this story took place when I was younger. I remember I was at my aunt's house. She lived at the house in front of me, and I was always there. We were sitting outside on her front porch, and she had a lovely front porch. It was huge. It stretched across the entire front of her house, and she always had the comfiest furniture out there and a lot of plants. And I remember sitting outside with her drinking coffee, and we were just talking. Well, the way that I was sitting on the porch, I could see, but like kind of to the side of her house, like, you know, if you were to go around the side, I could see where that started. And I remember seeing movement behind her head. And I looked up, and there, I have to sneeze. Sorry. Anyways, I remember looking up at that movement behind her head and seeing what looked to be like the shadow of a man wearing a hat go around the house. But it wasn't just a shadow, he was iridescent in color. I remember the colors being so bright and so beautiful. And I just spaced out. I was just staring. And I remember her, you know, asking me if I was okay. And I was like, yeah, no, I'm fine. And she was like, did you see him? She said, did you see the man with the hat? I said, I did. Is that common around here? Because I was there all the time and I had never seen that. And that was one paranormal experience that she did not share with me. She was like, yeah, I've seen him quite a bit. And outside of the iridescent color, I remember my mom telling me a few stories of her standing outside on our front porch and her seeing just the shadow of a man with a hat bolting around my aunt's driveway, just like weaving between the cars, and he would just disappear. He wasn't iridescent, so I don't know if it was the same thing, but my mom did see that. But apparently my aunt saw this iridescent man quite a bit. I remember so clearly in my mind what he looked like it's just gonna be burned into my brain forever. And just her being so casual, she was like, yeah, he's here. It's usually just me that sees him, but I guess you can see him too. My aunt was the coolest person on the planet. I miss her dearly. She passed away a few years ago, but I attribute a lot of my personality to my two aunts, one on my mom's side and the one on my dad's side that the story's about. Because the one on my mom's side is really into scary movies. And I think that's where I got my big love for scary movies. And then my aunt on my dad's side was really into paranormal things, and she had a haunted house. This woman, let me just tell you a little bit about my aunt, because like if you know me, you will hear similarities because I act the same way. So she had a beautiful house. Inside of it, she had Victorian furniture and decorations and things that she would acquire from estate sales and antique stores. She would get these authentic pieces. And I don't know what happened to her furniture when she passed away, but she had this one specific couch, and I loved it. And I didn't know the name of it, so I just started Googling what it looked like. It was like a paragraph description of this couch, right? It popped up, and to buy one, it is a few $1,000s. Like, this woman had nice antique stuff. But in turn, she would bring in secondhand things that would also come with spirits. and she had a lot of paranormal activity and a lot of energy going on in her house at all times. She had specific paintings that she would tell me that things would move in the paintings. I saw it happen a few times. It was quite interesting being in her house, and I loved being in her house. If there was a reason for me to be in that house, I was there. But one thing about her though is I don't think she ever encountered anything that was inherently negative, because any of the stories she told me, she was like, yeah, I don't get a bad feeling, so I just let them be. She just had a house full of spirits and she just didn't care. Real. Does that sound familiar? It sounds like me. Anyways, that is all for today's story. It was on the shorter side, but I really just wanted to bring up the topic of the Hatman to see if you guys would like, you know, a long story time video involving him or breakdowns. I would love to do that. If so, we could make a little Hatman series. I'd be so down because the Hatman is so fascinating. All right, that is all.